Going on, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, joined as always by Sean Reider. Sean, how's it going?
Good. How about you, Grammer? What's going on?
That's fantastic. I got a little light here that I'm gonna put a little light on here. Yeah, things are good, man. I recorded a podcast this morning. I already posted it. I got another one after this, a short one that I'll be recording, and won't post that till tomorrow. That one's What's Up in 505, our new little podcast, of which you were the original guinea pig, the pilot show guinea pig. And today I will be having former KOAT news sportscaster Bethany Miller on. And I will be posting that tomorrow. And earlier today I had Ali Farokmanesh, the Colorado State men's basketball head coach. And I've been doing last week I did Bryce Drew from Grand Canyon. It was actually about 11 days ago. It was at the end of the previous week. But I will be having Josh Pastner on recording later this week and have him on next week. So I'll have all the new head basketball coaches in the Mountain West this year. 3 of them, Eric Olin being one of them, of course. 3 of them new to their schools, and one of them, Bryce Drew, being new to the Mountain West because Grand Canyon is new. But this is football season. I want to start off by asking you, first of all, how fall, summer, whatever you call it, camp has been going for Lobo football, man.
I've done the fall spring mix up a couple too many times while writing. You know, I've gone through and read back, and I'm like, yeah, it's not spring practice. It's actually fall camp. It's August. No, they are. Oh my gosh, 12 practices in. I just got back from practice. I had to leave a little bit early so we could do this, obviously. But no, it's look. The last time we were on here, we kind of talked about a lot of things that we were looking for, and you're still looking for a lot of those things. They don't have a starting quarterback name. They'll probably have a starting quarterback name within the next week. It's going to be either Jack Lane or James Lobstein. We're still waiting to see there, but neither has really separated themselves that much, which isn't really a bad thing. Jason, that kind of made the point. It's not like one guy's, completing 48% of his passes, and it's a really easy decision. Both are playing to the point where it's not going to be an easy decision. I still, going back to the last live we did, I'll still lean that I think it does end up being Lane, but you're gonna need James Lobstein probably ready to go at some point this season, frankly. Beyond that, I think the one kind of revelation, the one kind of big thing this fall camp has been the defense. Last Thursday was the first fully padded scrimmage of fall camp, and the defense dominated. UNM scored 1 touchdown. That was the Twos offense. Is a dig route to wide receiver Jared Rennick, walk-on receiver in the end zone, and UNM the offense as a whole, first, second, and third team, all through 4 picks combined. 2 of them were picked off by Thomas Pettis, a Volcano Vista graduate, a freshman linebacker, and then CJ McBean, a freshman safety as well. The defense, I mean, it's just been really there's a lot to kind of like there right now, especially kind of with the front 7, what they got going for the linebackers and defensive line. It feels like this is the best defensive line I've seen in my time on the beat. So we're going into the 3rd season there. And I think it's not much to really go on beyond it, except the defense has been playing pretty well lately.
I muted myself while I was typing some stuff. I ask this, or I think this every year, but I always wonder, is defense ahead of offense? Is offense ahead of defense this time of year? And I never remember from the previous year. Is it normal, though, that the defense has been dominant?
So it is. I would say it mostly is, in the sense that when you do get like the first couple, fully padded practices or whatever, the defense can just react. The offense has to get a lot of timing stuff down. They got to work through all that. It's harder on the offense with that transition than it is for the defense. The way the defense is playing consistently, though, I would say it's a little bit different than, they're just ahead because of, hey, they finally have full pads on and all that. Granted, the offense as well, one thing that's hurting them, I mean, they're down 3 receivers right now. They are trying to figure out some tackle situations. Today, I haven't tweeted this out yet, starting right tackle, Novell Brown was not practicing today. He was in shorts, was not in full pads. And they had Isaiah Silliman in there working in his place So UNM's still trying to figure out the tackles. They still got to get those receivers healthy. And, yeah, I mean, those are kind of the big things there. And those aren't really anything that you can gloss over. I do think the scrimmage would have been a little different if they had the full complement of receivers to work with. And it's also, Eck has been pretty candid about this. They don't want to use up guys that they kind of know what they have, and they don't want to risk injury to. Guys like Scott Trey Humphrey and Damon Bankston, there's just not much of a risk reward at this point to putting those guys out there in live tackle situations and risking a real injury to.
Yeah, there's only so many bullets in the gun. Maybe that's not the college way to explain it, but I know some covering. You hear that phrase when you cover minor league baseball. Sometimes the veterans that are coming back down and on rehab assignments use that phrase a lot. So maybe I'm in my minor league baseball phrase. For those that don't know, first of all, Richie's always the first host. Well, boys, Richie, glad you're here again. Adam's actually pretty much right there with him most of the time. Are the Lobos ready to put hurting on Michigan? Before you answer that with in-depth analysis, I'm sure. I do want to remind people that at 4:30 today, Fernando Lovo is expected to join us and take your questions, and we'll see if we can't have the 3-screen setup. Not exactly red zone quad box going on, but we will do a red zone tri box, I guess. And Fernando Lovo will be here taking your questions until I basically told him, hey, 15, 30 minutes, whatever you want to do, I'll let you do. He's like, yeah, let's do that. And I imagine if he's here at 4:30, he will be here till 5 at the very end, because that'll go quicker than anybody thinks, because I imagine you guys will have a few questions. So, and I know Sean and I can come up with a few questions. So, all right, to Adam's question, Sean, are the Lobos ready to put a hurting on Michigan?
Adam, good to hear from you. If they are going to do that, they are working towards that point right now.
I guess that's the way to answer it, right? They hope. Tomorrow, big day for Michigan football tomorrow.
Big day for Michigan football. Very big day.
Yeah, they're obviously
the Michigan State contingent in my life has kept me fairly updated on that.
Yeah. I mean, you got the big tryouts going. Anybody on campus at Michigan, for our Michigan fans, anybody on campus who wants to try out and maybe help the team, maybe have a chance to beat the Lobos. I don't know. Tomorrow's the day. Show up and bring your cleats, your sneakers.
Ideally bring cleats.
Yeah. So Richie is in with how's the first practice compared to the latest? Any of the players passing the eye test, popping out? I mean, have you seen improvement? I would imagine the coaches have, and when they're breaking down film. But somebody who's just watching from the sideline, can you see it?
I do want to know, Richie, one guy that passed the eye test to me, Jackson Dart, the other day, and Abdul Carter. I liked what I saw there. In terms of look, there has been improvement, and I think you're seeing a lot of it with the defense right now. In terms of guys passing the eye test and kind of popping out, Zael Smith, freshman wide receiver, we talked about on the last show. He's a guy that Eck and offensive coordinator Luke Schleissner said repeatedly over the summer, like, we think he's a guy that's going to play. We think he's physically ready. First 3 or so practices, he is just a freshman receiver coming in, like adjusting to college football and all that. Didn't quite see that all the way. Over the last 2-3 practices or so, you're really starting to see that. He is coming on really strong. There's a lot to like with what he is doing. He's getting a ton of run with the first team offense at this point, and part of that is due to the injuries in the receiver room. But part of it is he's playing. He's showing what he can really do, and he's got good speed. Good hands. I like a lot of what I've seen out of him. He's passing the eye test to me. Guys in the defense, Keyshawn James Newby, I think has really passed the eye test with flying colors. I think fans should genuinely be excited about him. I really like what he brings to the table, kind of off that jack position, that boundary end. Brian Booker had a monster rush today. I think he's coming on strong. I mean, he had a huge rush that forced an incompletion earlier today. And defensive coordinator Spencer Nowinski was on the sidelines, and he's like, Brian, you can play like that all the time. I just want you to know, like, you can do that every play. Like, you can do that. If you start to get that guy, really moving and blowing past guys, He is going to be a tough guy to stop. Okiki Oluwafunmi, also on the interior, has had some really nice moments here and there. I think him moving into the interior has been a really, really good move compared to where he was working out, off the edge last year. I think with his size and the fact that he's working on the inside with like swim moves and stuff like that, that's making a big difference. And he seems pretty comfortable with that. I could probably name 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other players, but we'll go with those guys for right now.
I'll bet you can name a whole lot more than that. You could probably name good 30 players on this roster, maybe more.
Everybody passed the eye test to me. Everybody.
So I'm going to ask to all right. I'll get to a couple of these first, and then I do want to, before Fern comes on, do just a real quick general. Actually, we'll just do it right now. Before we get back to Lobo football, today the AP preseason AP top 25 came out. Penn State number 2, Texas number 1. Sean Reider, you are a voter in this year's AP top 25 college football poll. You had who number 1?
Penn State. Penn State number 1. And that was a really close vote too. I think it was Texas 25 first place votes and Penn State 23. I was in the 23. I just like Penn State a lot this year. I thought it was really tough at the top. I thought this was a really tough preseason poll, honestly, compared to previous years. I thought the top 10, you could have ordered it a lot of different ways, but you knew who was going to be towards, the top 5, who's going to be towards the, the kind of, not the bottom 5, but the lower half of the top 10, I should say. But the rest of the poll I thought was honestly pretty difficult. There's a lot of interesting teams this year.
First time ever, according to the Associated Press, that the preseason number 1 ranked team, being Texas, is opening the season as an underdog. And they are an underdog on the road to open the season at Ohio State. That is clearly interesting, but also a sign that there is some really good high-end, scheduling early, maybe not. I don't know. I did see the, college football Reddit account post this year's ranked matchups based on the preseason poll. November, obviously, backloaded with a lot of really good ranked versus ranked opponents based on this poll, of course. And that's just because that's when the SEC and Big Ten teams are playing each other. There's a lot of those teams being ranked right now. So I will, to regionalize it or conferenceize it a little bit more, do you have anybody out west or in the Mountain West in your top 25?
Yeah, no, I had Boise at 25. I think they're deserving to be in the top 25. I did not think they were top 15, to be honest with you. And part of that is just there's a lot of good parity in college football right now. But no, I thought they were worthy of a top 25 vote. I think they are the top team in the G5 until said otherwise. Do I think it's going to be? Do I still think they're going to be as good as they were last year? No, and obviously, losing Genty is such a big part of that. But no, I think they're the top dog in G5 right now.
All right. Anything else you want to say about the top 25 poll or anything like that?
I haven't gotten a lot of mean messages from some fan bases this year about ranking one team too high or ranking their team too low. So I assume I nailed the poll and everybody is happy with it.
Nailed it. I will mention Michigan at 14. Are you okay with that? Big Michigan fan.
I think I got to double check. I think I'm at 12. I think I'm higher on Michigan than others. But yeah.
Big Michigan fan is Sean, of course.
Huge Michigan fan. Yeah.
For those scoring at home, a lot of Lobo fans might be interested to know that BYU is 26 and Utah is 27. Utah is 27.
I had Utah ranked. I had them in my poll.
Really? Where'd you have? I mean, probably back into the 25, but
yeah, I had them. I think at 23. Pretty sure 23 or 24.
Okay. I don't know that there's necessarily. Well, yeah, there is another noteworthy one. UNLV at 35, about 10 spots outside of the top 25 poll. Got, let's see how many points. They had 21 points, so that means a handful of. Well, actually, I'm just looking at the breakdown. Maybe I should have done that before I brought it up. They had 21 points. They have one voter ranking them 12th. Does UNLV?
Ooh, wait, what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, high vote of 12. Sam McCowan. McCowan. So, according to College Poll Tracker, UNLV is at 10 spots outside the top 25, 21 points. And the vast majority of that comes from one voter voting them as high as 12. They had 3 voters rank them. They had a 12th place vote, a 20th place vote, and one 25th place vote. So 3 voters out of 65. Actually, I don't know how many voters were there. 65 this year for football. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like. Anyway, and Oregon down at 7th got the last first place vote. So UNLV got 3 voters on their side, and one of them is really high on UNLV, which would be a heck of a season for UNLV if they finish 12th in the country. And Memphis, another school I guess worth noting. James Madison and Memphis both are probably interesting to the non-power structure teams. Get Colorado at 48th, getting a point. So there you go. Back to Lobo football.
That was poll talk.
Good.
That was poll talk.
That was poll talk. Juan's asking, is Agu back yet?
Juan, good to hear from you. He is not back yet, and I actually need to follow up with Eck and see if there are any updates. But for those who don't know, Darren Agu, Vanderbilt transfer, defensive lineman. He is a London, England native, and he is still stuck in London with some visa stuff. So they're trying to get him back, but he is obviously not back yet.
This is from earlier. I will point out that when you were talking about sitting starters, Adam's on board. He threw out his back last week sneezing, so he's okay with sitting out some starters. You got Richie happy that you made a New York Giants reference.
It's a good ball.
Lobo Leroy's on board. He is saying, how prevalent is hometownism in AP voting generally amongst the press? Are certain regions and or conferences more prevalent with it? Of course, the ABQ Journal would never partake.
You can address this too. I mean, you're a basketball voter. I mean,
the Associated Press is actually intentionally regionalized based on number of members and all that kind of stuff. It's sort of like if you will, a bit of a electoral college. Not a whole lot of residents or a whole lot of members in this New Mexico region. But the New Mexico region is represented by one vote usually, and that is in basketball and football, that it happens to be at the Journal and has been for many, many years. And where there's a whole lot more schools, there's a whole lot more votes. So it can be regionalized. It is based intentionally, though, like I said, spread out across the country. They do not at any point, if every voter was just in the SEC footprint, then they would pull that. One of the issues becomes who are AP voters going to be able to watch, like in football, for instance. Mm-hmm. They're going to be seeing the SEC every week, and they're going to be seeing the Big Ten every week. That's the long-standing, age-old sort of issue with the voting is everyone says, oh, these voters don't watch every game. How could why are they voting? They should lose their vote. Guess what? Coaches don't watch their games either. They watch the games of the teams they're about to play next week, maybe 2 weeks down the road. I would say that writers actually pay attention to the landscape at large a whole lot better than do football coaches. Even if you want to argue football coaches know the game of football better, they're not paying attention to football better during the season. So look, the polls are what they are. They're crazy in exact science. They are conversation starters, and they used to be a really, really helpful tool for news media to get coverage when there wasn't 5,000 games every Saturday afternoon on television, and you could probably find every single game somewhere. You relied on the Associated Press to cover these games. So is it outdated? Probably not, because it is what it is. It's not really doing anything other than making a conversation piece every week. So
we don't determine national champions anymore. So that's what it is. But
so, look, there are flaws with it, and there are some voters on both the football and the basketball side of things that I would never defend on how they do it. But that's kind of what they're going for. They don't want just national writers doing it. They don't want just SEC writers doing it. They want writers who do cover the Mountain West. They want a couple writers who cover the Sun Belt. They intentionally do that stuff. So when there's good programs in those schools, they're getting eyes on them. Voter eyes are on every team is, I guess, generically the hope, right? You would hope that every region gets a voter or two watching some football in that region, and every region and every team has a voter or two that gets to see them throughout the year. So there you go. It is my explainer, I guess, on that.
I second all that completely. I watch a lot of college football on Saturdays. I watch a lot. It is impossible with my job to watch every single game and stay up to date on absolutely every single thing. That doesn't mean you don't go back later in the night when you're putting the poll together and start figuring things out and all that. But I'm not going to take my eyes off the game. I am being paid to cover and have the obligation to cover to, watch Mizzou, Texas A&M, instead of that and all that. You keep tabs the best you can, but it is as Geoff put it, it's inexact, but it's fun. It's a conversation starter, and we enjoy it.
That is a wonderful attitude for a young journalist to have. If there is an interesting game on while I'm covering a Lobo game, I will absolutely have it on my laptop while said Lobo game is going on in front of me. I may not be doing that down the stretch of the Lobo game, but I'm watching other good games. If there's good games on, I'm watching them. Then again, I don't know anything about basketball. So, all right. Here we go. This will be a good transition right here. Ronnie's got one here. Ronnie Chavez is asking, Reider, what's your take on the hometown kids staying here at UNM, like the Cleveland wide receiver being the most recent player to choose UNM?
Yeah, I think it's a good sign overall, Ronnie. I mean, it's Eck said from the jump, like we want to recruit New Mexico. Like we want guys from New Mexico. Are they going to get every single New Mexican kid? No. But no, I think Maldonado being the recent example, like, I mean, everything I've seen and heard, I mean, it seems like a good player. So yeah, I think it's encouraging. I think it's something that, fans like, obviously, certainly like really like that too. They want players they have that kind of connection with. And look, it's also, Eck kind of made the point too, after his introductory press conference, I was talking about this, and it's the element of like, we want guys like who are, that did grow up around the university and are connected to the university and understand it and understand the stuff out here, because, in the sense of the era of the transfer portal, like they might not be as inclined to leave and all that. And it's, hey, like, we know that we're going to get, we're going to get quality kids and all that. So, I think it's always heartening to, when you do get the local kids like that.
All right, we are, for those tuning in to see, the big fireworks, the good stuff today. Fernando Lovo is set to join us here shortly. Let me pull this down here. In about 5 minutes or so, Fernando should be joining us and answering your questions. If you guys have some questions you want to send in now for the UNM athletic director, have at it. The main topic, I suppose, that we will certainly be starting him with and giving him an opportunity to go off on and to talk on a little bit is all this fan engagement stuff they got going on, right? They are rolling out the red carpet for families, really. I know he's trying to get the business side too. I've sort of laid it out in some articles I've done. He kind of tackled the legislators, got some money from the state. He has sort of the Lobo Club and all tackled the boosters and said we need a little more. They set a new record in fundraising. He hit the student crowd a little bit since he's gotten here. They did raise student fees, and he did directly approach student agencies, student government, I should say, and did that. He's talked about tackling the business community, and he's going to try and get more out of that. But right now, he's really been focusing on the fans and trying to get families and young kids. That's as he has put. That is playing the long game a little bit. That may not help them a ton this year to let kids 12 and under in free. It may take some building, but he wants to get some young fans hooked on Lobo athletics, and that's getting them in free, making it somewhat affordable for parents to give the kids a snack and something while they're at the game. I say give the kids, that's for the parents too, obviously, and some $4 options, which at a lot of stadiums isn't happening. And you could still absolutely point out that, yeah, the price of a bottle of water being $4 is crazy, but not at stadiums. It's not. It's just not. It's not. These prices are decent prices for movies and stadiums, and that's what this is. This is an entertainment event. So we will give him an opportunity to do some of that. I will ask you what you think in terms of. Here, I'll bounce over here to Sorry about that. I had the wrong thing on there. But Adam is basically asking, in your opinion, what would successful average attendance look like?
I thought he was asking like this would be like a question for Fern.
You want that one for Fern? My bad. Yeah, I just sat there and said, "Hey, send your questions in for Fern."
Adam can correct us. That's what I interpreted. You asked for questions.
That's absolutely. I just got done saying, "Here, send some questions in for Fern," and then I give you the first one. So I will be saving that one for Fern. So.
Average successful attendance for me. Average sellout all the time. That's boom, success right there. That's my take.
That's the better standard message I'm supposed to have at the bottom there, guys. Sorry. Okay. So something else Lobo football related that I did want to kind of cover a little bit is that I do think Jason Eck is doing about as good as you can expect. You know, a new coach, an outsider. He wasn't a guy coming back to the community. To do. I mean, he and his family are out present and very public. He and accessible. He's been doing all these social media videos. The UNM social teams have been killing it with that stuff. And I do like Jason Eck's approach to all this. I imagine as the season gets closer, he probably reins some of that in and sort of locks in just on football a little more. That's not to say he's distracted by any stretch, but at some point it becomes a little more singular focus. Why don't you say that while I bring in our guest, Fernando, and give a couple comments on that, Sean, while I bring Fern in here.
Wait, go back. A couple comments on what? I'm sorry.
Just Jason Eck's approach so far to being so open with the fans and so accessible, doing all these videos. I imagine he reins some of that in here soon as the season approaches and gets closer, just because I do think that, he's not going to be doing a whole lot of social media commercials and X-Tots office parodies during the season.
Yeah, no. Look, he's been really open with everybody since the day he's got here. And it's a simple approach in the sense of, he's an open guy and that, it's worked out well. Obviously the social media stuff has been great. Fans really resonates with fans. I think it's made a big difference so far.
We are joined by the University of New Mexico's new athletic director. I can still say new for the first year, even though it seems like he's done a whole heck of a lot already. Fernando Lovo. Fern, how you doing, man?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me on. I guess I have to say, since I said it on your podcast, the best damn show in the land, right?
We'll take best damn. How about best damn daytime live webcast in the land?
Done.
Take it. I'll take it. Chop it up. Let's make a promo.
Love it. I'm down. I'm not as good of an actor or social media presence as Coach Eck I heard you guys talking about, but I'll try my best.
Well, so you guys have been, obviously going heavy with it, right? Casey's here, and you guys are laying it on like pretty heavy early on, trying to not only get fans to come in, right? That's part of everything you guys are doing, but as you've mentioned, the storytelling. It's not even to say it's been lacking, but when you look at rooms for growth, you look at football and you look at the storytelling ability of a digital content team and not ability, but opportunity. And you guys have those. And it seems like you guys are kind of hitting the ground running this sports season, fiscal year, football season, however you want to say it, hitting the ground running with kind of those two things, at least initially.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that and noticing it. I mean, Casey, and I think you've known him from the past. He was here prior to certainly to me getting here. But, I thought he ran one of the best brands in all of college football at the University of Washington. When I was in football at the University of Texas, I always thought the University of Washington did one of the best jobs out there in terms of promoting their brand. I know when Michael Penix, had his incredible year, Casey did really spearheaded a lot of that campaign. And so, we've talked about it, Geoff, offline and just for the listeners, I mean, I think one of the most important things we can do at UNM right now is tell our story. Times have changed. And certainly, when you look at our football and our men's basketball programs, I mean, my goodness, we have entirely new basketball team. And, we have 60 plus new players. Hey, show up, come and support us and all of that. And I think some of them are asking, well, tell us a little bit about your team and your coach and everything else. And so, we've had a really strong focus on our storytelling and being engaging and being creative. And, we have to do things differently. For us, to be able to, New Mexico football owned social media for a day. We had between the video of Coach Eck that Casey and his team put together, I think it was the week before, and then our Kids Free Initiative launched. We had over 1 million impressions on social media over those 2 videos. And that's really cool. We want people talking about New Mexico and New Mexico football and all of our sports, right? So having that creative approach and creative edge is something that Casey's brought. And I'm excited to see it continue to grow. And, it's been really good so far.
And to that point, it's not just locally, obviously. You're not getting a million impressions just here in Albuquerque. Oh, you could, I suppose. But hit the D1 ticker, which is the industry newsletter that all the people in offices like Fern's there are watching and paying attention to. And it's being noticed by the people who do this for a living as well. And that's a good thing. It's not like it's being noticed and being mocked or ridiculed in any way. It's being noticed and being complimented. So it seems like you guys are doing what you're supposed to do. Before we get to a couple questions, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into. You guys do the initiative with not only the free tickets for some younger fans, 12 and under. You also do the concession stand thing. You're never going to make people entirely happy with concession stand prices. I will say if it's all relative, if you're going to compare to some other stadiums or just going out to the movies or to a play or whatever, these are some good prices. Some will point out and have $4 for a bottle of water is really tough, that kind of stuff. How do you guys, I know it's a Levy, so this isn't a direct question for you, but you know how it works better than most. How do you guys come up with the price points for stadium pricing?
Yeah, I think we do some benchmarking, number one, and we did. We looked across, some averages amongst our peers and locally. And we have good conversations with our provider, Levy, as you mentioned, to see what makes sense. I think you eloquently stated in your message that you put out, the comparisons to what it was last year. And, this is just the beginning. This is just the start. We want to continue to make our games, our events, everything else as affordable as possible for the general fan. It's not our intention ever to price anybody out of coming to a Lobo athletic event. We want individuals out there. We know all the stressors that are on, individuals financially this day and age. And when they're choosing to spend their hard-earned discretionary income on coming to a Lobo event, whether it be a football game or whatever else it might be, we want to make it fair and we want to make it reasonable. And so, benchmarking and comparisons, those are things we do all the time. And, I think we've received some good feedback so far. And you're right. Are we always going to make everybody happy? Of course not. But I love that feedback, even when it's not good, because we're always looking for ways to continue to grow it, enhance it, and try to make this as affordable of a thing as possible for our fans. And so this is just the beginning. Then I was at the University of Texas in my 8 years there. I think every year we came out with something new and exciting in terms of our concessions and fan-friendly pricing. So I have every intention to do the same here.
All right, just brought it up. I'm going to jump to this question or this fan point now. Fern, I don't know what your screen looks like when you join in, but if you can see the questions here, I am pulling one up from Richie, who is 100% of the time our first commenter, kind of he's waiting there welcoming us home, every time we come on, and he's always here, and he's a big Lobo fan. And this is for you. Have you been to Red River? If not, what other places do you go when you need to get out of town? And I realized I just read the first part of this, and I thought he was talking about the Red River rivalry. I was like, oh, cool. I'll bring up the Red River question. All right, well, never mind. Let's ask it anyway. Fern, Red River?
Well, I have been to the Red River rivalry. I have been to that. Wait, so I've been there. Awesome event, awesome game. I have not been to Red River. I will tell you though, my dad has been, and he speaks very highly of it. My parents love New Mexico. They're actually here in town right now. Every time I talk to them, hey, we're coming back again. So I have not been to Red River, but my dad has. And, I've tried. It's been obviously a busy 8 months, but I've tried to get away as much as I can to explore this great state. Actually, 2 weekends ago, I went up to Santa Fe with my wife, and we did some hikes and explored and got around them. Previously, I'd been up there, but I only knew the roundhouse and where I parked. That's about all I saw of Santa Fe. And so we like being outdoors, and the outdoor lifestyle here is just incredible. I mean, we go on hikes, and we went on a pretty big one up in Santa Fe. And so we went to Hemis one weekend. I took my parents there. So we've been getting out and about, and we love it. We love it here. It's a beautiful state, and look forward to, I've heard it's beautiful in the fall, see the leaves changing and all that. So hopefully we can go celebrate a Lobo football win with watching the leaves change. So, but we can talk about Red River rivalry too, if you want to.
Well, it's funny that you haven't been here for a fall yet. It seems like you can. And I will say that I know Sundays you do go, Sundays you try, and it seems like make that the day you're spending and doing something with your family. And I know this because pretty much every Sunday I spend a little time every afternoon or evening kind of planning my week ahead. And that's when I start firing texts and emails every Sunday to people, knowing it's their worst time to do it. And that's just the time I've carved out. So yeah, you put up with that very politely, I will say.
Well, it's easy. I just tell my wife, Jordan, I say, hey, Grammar's texting. I'll get right back to you. I got to respond. So she's used to it.
I'm sure she's okay with that. Sean has been out to a whole lot of football practices. I'll let him kind of handle this from his perspective. He was just saying earlier, his thoughts on the team. I'll tee this up with Sean. You give him your thoughts, but I am curious, Fern, kind of what your thoughts are, and just on the team itself. I know what biased opinion you would give as an AD, but you've been in front of a really, really high level program quite a bit in the past, and I'm curious. Sean, how about it?
I do want to preface this, obviously, Fern, you've worked in high-level college football. You've been a part of an NFL staff. You have a walk when you walk into practice. It's almost like you snap right back to it. I can almost kind of see it. What are you seeing at this point out of this team?
Yeah, I think, training camps is a unique beast in college football. The dog days of training camp are real. And, I think what I've seen early on is I see a really organized operation out at practice. I think they're getting the most out of what they're doing. I see, Coach Meyer always used to talk about game reps and mental reps, meaning if you're in the game, right, you're actually going through your steps, you're going back, you're throwing, you're catching, whatever else, working on your fundamental and technique. But then you've got the mental side of it, right? When you're not in, do you know the play call, right? Do you know your assignment? Do you know your alignment? Do you know your technique? And I see that, I see as I'm standing behind practice and watching, I hear guys, hey, we're in cover 2, or we're running inside zone, whatever else it is. So I see a really good, operation and organization. I think from my perspective, and Sean, you've been out there, and I appreciate you being out there so much. It's just, I think what you'll see a lot in training camp is, oftentimes, especially when you're installing a new system, is that your defense will outpace your offense, right? In terms of just their execution and all of that. So I know, I would say that overall our talent level, obviously I didn't see the team last year, but I think our talent level across the board is certainly enough to be competitive. And I do think that our schemes, as we continue to install them and get deeper into game prep mode, I'm excited to see us to be able to capitalize on our players and put them in the best position to be successful. And I've been impressed with both sides of the ball. They've had, certainly some have had better days than other, but overall, I think the operation of in the organization of practice has been really impressive. And it's hot out there. They're out there grinding in the afternoons, and it's easy to lose focus when that happens. And I see guys locked in. I see good fundamentals. I don't see the ball on the ground a lot, so I know they're emphasizing protecting the ball and trying to create turnovers on the other side. So I've been pleased. I've been trying to get out to as many practices as I can. You said it. I scratch that itch when I go out there. I need to get on the horn and start blowing the periods again, right, to really come full circle. But no, I've been very pleased with what I've seen so far.
I do want to make sure we're getting all the questions that we have up in the queue right now. But quarterback Abe Williams was named to Bruce Feldman's freaks list, but oh my gosh, last week I'm pretty sure. And obviously very unique honor. And Eck kind of made the point. He said, Fern kind of mentioned, he's like, he looked like, just as good, if not better than like some of the corners we had like walking around at Texas. I know it's not like you're walking out there and, you're kind of watching practice from this angle and all that, but has there been a guy or two that's really kind of caught your eye at this point?
Yeah, Abe certainly, physically, I mean, he's a, freak show. That's why he's on the list, right? I mean, his body, just his length as a corner. I mean, he's gonna make it hard on receivers to really create separation, and just his speed and, his toughness. I mean, he's certainly deserving of that honor. I think when you look at, I've been impressed with our corners and our back end. I think, they've got good ball skills outside of Abe, and our safeties and our nickel, packages. I think they've been, I've been impressed with that. And then on offense, we've got a great stable of running backs. Everybody knows about Scott Trey as an All-American, but the guys behind him, I think they could play or start for any team in this conference. And I mean that sincerely. And so I've been impressed by them. And, look, everybody always wants to know about the quarterback and, how's that going? I think we have a group of individuals in that room that can manage the game at a high level, that are smart and make good decisions. And so, again, across the board, I know Coach Eck may say, he feels like we could use some help here and there at position. That's what coaches are paid to do. But I've been impressed. I think, we've got some decent depth that I think will help us as the season goes on. And, I'm excited to see them continue to progress as they put in their offense and defense and see how they emphasize their players' strengths to the best of their abilities.
Adam Lopez is watching us. I think he had a question earlier on YouTube, but this one's from X. Adam is asking, in your opinion, and he did say that Sean and I could answer this, but it was before you were on. I think it was meant for you. In your opinion, what would a successful average attendance look like? Again, a successful one for you, I know, would be 30,000. But what are your goals?
Yeah, I think that, you look at the past history, when Lobo football was drawing at the levels that I would expect for it or hope for it to be. I think we were in the 30,000 range average. And so, I hate to put a specific number on it, because what I'm looking for, there's two things, right? There's butts and seats and there's engagement, right? And I think those two certainly go hand in hand. But, I think last year we averaged somewhere in the 17,000 range. And, if we could grow that, 25, 30%, and see some sustained growth and get us up over 20,000 and be confident that what we're doing, everything that we're doing is working, I think to me would be a good indication that we're doing the right thing. So look, I get it. The success on the field matters. To say that it doesn't, it would be foolish, right? Of course it matters. And the brand of football that you play also does matter. And I know that we'll play an exciting brand of football. We have players that will make exciting plays. And so hopefully a little bit of blind trust and faith from our fan base that'll be the case helps us. But I think, seeing some consistent, steady growth that doesn't have massive peaks and valleys is something that I'm really going to keep my eye closely on. And a lot of that is on us as administration, right? We've got to do things to engage our fan base and to keep them excited about coming to a Lobo football game. And so, to me, we've got to get up over 20,000, for us to be able to really sustain something that I think we would be proud of. But I think I hate to put a ceiling on it, because it's been done before, and there's no reason why it can't be done. And I get part of that is making investments into our stadium to make it an elite venue. So while I don't want to set a ceiling, I'd hope to see some meaningful growth from a percentage standpoint this year that we can look back on and say, okay, this worked, and let's continue to enhance it.
Since it's the same topic, I'm going to jump ahead to another Adam kind of follow-up. Do you have any plans or ideas to keep the momentum up when you hit the middle of the season? You're on home game number 3 or 4, even 2. After all this talk and this excitement in August dies down, you guys coming back with another anything specific, or just hope to keep it rolling?
No, hoping is just not an option, right? We've got to continue to push and do things differently. And yeah, absolutely, Adam. That doesn't stop. Once the foot hits the ball, on August 30th when we play in Ann Arbor, that's just the beginning. And so, we've got some really cool initiatives that we're working on for certain games this year. I think one of them here, we're not going to specifically say what game it'll be for, and I've got to be careful what I say because I don't want to blow our cover. But we've got some things that'll I think grab our fans' attention. And yeah, we're going to continue to evolve every single game we have in University Stadium. We're not going to take it for granted, regardless of what the outcome on the field is, that fans are going to show up because we have too many competing forces out there in the environment now, and it's too easy to say, hey, I'm just going to watch it on my couch, and that we've got to work at that. And so part of that, right, of creating momentum is having a good in-game experience. And I've talked a little bit about, I think, Sean, I talked to you about this one time, is just, how we script our games. How do we make them engaging, keeping it dynamic so that people are on the edge of their seats saying, oh my gosh, I want to come back, right? Because that was a great experience. And so, we're going to continue to roll things out and be creative. I've got an extremely creative team. And what I've told my team is this, is I said, don't fear failure. Don't. If you have a great idea, bring it to the table. Let's try anything and everything, right? Because doing nothing is not an option. And so we'll continue to push the envelope and continue to do things. And all I can tell our fan base is just to stay tuned, because we've got some tricks up our sleeve and we're excited to roll them out.
I know you can't say it. I'll give it away right now. There's a Geoff Grammer bobblehead night down the road. The problem is the manufacturer's having a hard time making a bobblehead of me with no neck. That's usually where the head pivots. And so that's going to be an issue. And then there was also the Sean Reider grape eating game at halftime that was going to bring a lot of people. The problem with that is nobody really believed it was going to happen. So
it's not happening. It's not going to happen. It's no.
Sean, I had to just do it just so you knew that I hadn't forgotten about it. But we've got to we've got to determine if something happens, that will be the result of it, right? If we go wherever, if we go to a bowl, whatever it is, Sean is going to try a grape and a blueberry.
We have said this for months, and like Grammer and I we do need to really sit down and hammer out what is the grape bet, what is the blueberry bet, and just go with it, because we need those stakes on the table now.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
All right, there's one offline question somebody had sent me earlier today. Wasn't going to be on the live show, so he sent me something on social media. Rob up in Fort Collins, actually, big Lobo fan. I'll be traveling at this time, so my question would be this: what to you, Fern? What do you see as the single biggest difference for UNM in the Mountain West, in the region, and among other institutions across the country? What does this isn't meant as just a go give yourself a commercial here, but like what is UNM's sort of selling point, or what does make it different?
I really believe, and look, I'll preface this by saying, I haven't been through a football season. Obviously, it was so fortunate to be part of an incredibly successful basketball season. But I think our fan base is unique. I mean, their passion is incredible. They have extremely high expectations, and their passion is just unmatched. And I say that sincerely. And so I think that's a big differentiator for us. I really do. And I think people understand that we have a very passionate and incredible fan base. I also think being in Albuquerque, being in this area, right, in a place where we are the biggest show in town, and I believe that because I've seen it. We're not battling a bunch of different other forces out there in terms of professional sports or whatever else, right? Obviously, we have our great partners with the United and the Isotopes, and I think we complement ourselves each very well. But we have the momentum behind our brand and behind our name, and that's not to say that other schools don't in the conference, but I do think we're uniquely positioned in a state, right, as the flagship institution, that we have an area of the market cornered, and we can really capitalize on that. We have a great academic institution, right, as an R1 institution that is a big selling point for us. And so I think we're uniquely set up and positioned, for us to continue to evolve and grow in the Mountain West as it looks today and as it'll look next year. And I think some of the things we need to do, and we're working on, and hopefully you'll see this soon as we make an announcement about something else, is we got to make sure that our footprint is not just here in New Mexico, right? We've got to make sure that as we're targeting, getting eyeballs on us right on TV, that we're looking at a more regional approach, because I think our product is going to continue to be one that people want to consume. We're going to be successful, and we've got great coaches. We just need to make sure we're putting that in this region so everybody knows about the Lobos, because we've got a great story to tell. We've got great fan support. We're a great institution in a great city in a great state. We just need people to see it, believe it, buy it, and just join the bandwagon, because it's going in the right direction.
Ronnie wants you guys to play War Pigs by Black Sabbath coming in. A lot of other teams do it. To be honest, if I'm not mistaken, you guys do just come out to the fight song, I believe.
We currently, yes, that is what we were doing, but we are working through that. And so what I would say to Ronnie and to all of those that have ideas about enhancement of game experience or songs that we could play and involvement with the fans is, let's let them fly. You can tweet at me or just send them to Grammar, because he'll find a way to get them to me. So
on Sundays when you're doing something with your family, I'll start sending you a bunch of texts. They're all going to say La Bamba. I don't care what anyone sends me. I'm going to recommend playing La Bamba.
I love it. Love that.
Have you seen La Bamba, by the way? Have you ever seen the movie La Bamba?
You know what?
I
was afraid you're going to ask me, and I'm going to have to say no, I haven't, but I need to. I will.
Sean, Fern, I don't think you need to. I don't think you have to. Honestly,
I need to. It's part of becoming one with this community, right?
It is a popular movie here.
When Grammar speaks of La Bamba or there's a tweet, it blows up, and so I think I need to make sure that I do that. So I will check that box here shortly, and I'll report back. I'll come back on. I'll report back my thoughts.
Hard to do, but this head does get bigger, and it's getting there.
You're not helping my case. You're not helping my case as a holdout, Fern. I'll be completely honest. You are not helping my case there.
I'm sorry. I let you down.
All right. What's a white whale kind of improvement for UNM athletics that you have your eye on? Is it that isn't possible right now, but it might be for the future? Like what would be, dome?
Yeah, I think for us, you look at it, I saw somebody put in the chat too about the development, going south. Yeah.
You want to combine those two? Because I think that maybe goes hand in hand here. And I'll pull that one up here as you're answering here too.
Yeah. Look, I think the development of this area here, the South Campus area, I've got maybe a bold vision that I've been just championing because I believe it at my core. I believe that this should be the sports and entertainment district of New Mexico. I do. I think the bones of this area, when you look at Isotope Stadium, obviously the pit, University Stadium, and then the additional development that Ronnie's mentioning that's going on, I think the opportunity for growth in this area, not just for UNM, but for the city and the state, is immense. And so one of the things that we've done is we had an incredible turnout last week. We're working through the process of having a master plan for the South Campus area. And we've partnered with our great partners at Lobo Development, which is a great group that's been doing a lot of this work. But, the obvious thing that I get asked about a lot, and it's true, is our stadium. We've got to make improvements to University Stadium. And I say this, and I'll continue to say it cannot just be a football stadium. It can't. We can't just play football games in University Stadium. It's great. We love it. Go Lobos, but it's got to be more than that, right? It's got to be a community stadium, community gathering place. We've got to hold concerts. We've got to do things to engage this community, right? Because the more that we bring to this area, the greater the development will be. And so what's my big dream? What's my big aspiration? I think if we could look years down the road and see this whole area down here really develop and thrive into something that could be viewed as the sports and entertainment district in New Mexico, would be a really cool moment, and one that while it may be an ambitious goal, is one that I've socialized obviously with my team, but externally, and we're going to push. We're going to keep pushing because I think that the opportunities are there. We've just got to make sure it's done the right way, and it's thought through at a high level, and we're going to do that.
I have seen some of your peers, including Fresno State, Mountain West, recently at Shakira, That kind of stuff, I imagine, is what you're looking for.
Sure.
I would imagine that includes you having to have a partnership, if you will, with the people that are running Popejoy and stuff like that, right? Like, I mean,
Yep.
UNM Athletics isn't the one who's going to be going to get Shakira by yourself. You have to have those connections in that world. So is there a willingness to do something like that at UNM?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if we could do it tomorrow, I'd do it tomorrow. If there was, a willing group that would come through, and we've actually had some good conversations. I was at the University of Texas. I was fortunate. I worked closely with Live Nation at the Moody Center there in Austin, and we were able to get, quite a bit of great acts to come through there. And so, to your point, Geoff, I mean, having those connections, and a lot of individuals on my staff do. We've been able to have some conversations. In fact, we had one 2 weeks ago with a really big name artist, and so we're doing that. We're pursuing those. I think we have a unique venue. The size of the outdoor venue that we have is unique, as there's not one comparable here locally, and so we are absolutely pushing. If we could have a concert tomorrow in University Stadium, we'd do it. It's a great opportunity. Not just from a revenue perspective, but again, we're talking about engaging the community, bringing them in, making sure that they know that, we're doing more than just hosting football games in that stadium. So that's certainly our plan. And hopefully we can get an act in here in the next, 8 to 12 months. That's our goal.
Chris Kedge, who I believe that this is Chris Kedge, the runner. I'd love to see basketball wear some black jerseys. So I am curious what your role in jersey apparel, or if there is a department-wide sort of mandate that you guys stick to a color scheme, or is it each team kind of gets to make their call?
Yeah, we do it at a department level. I think for us, I think someone tweeted that at me this year actually about having a blackout night in the pit. Again, it's all about creating fan engagement and experience for our fans, right? And I know fans love alternate jerseys. The throwbacks last year were awesome for basketball. I thought that was really cool. And so I'll never say never. Right now, I can tell you we don't have any plans, for black jerseys for basketball, but we'll continue to look, to find ways to increase engagement. And if a blackout night at the pit's going to do it, I'm open to any and all ideas, but we talk about it holistically and make sure that, we try to be as consistent as we can with primary and secondary and tertiary colors in our color scheme. But that doesn't mean that we won't stray from that from time to time. And so, I think as of right now, we don't have any plans, but I certainly would not be opposed to any sort of discussion that would excite the fans if we could make it work. I actually saw something on here, Geoff. Ronnie mentioned something about a team walk to the stadium. We're actually bringing back the Lobo walk this year.
Yeah. So what Ronnie said was, Fern, what if any involvement do you have? Oh, I messed it up.
No, different question.
On the new development going on was the question that you just went over, and I messed that up. There we go. Is there anything going on up west of Lobo Village? Ronnie, here you are. How about a team walk from maybe Lobo Village to the stadium? Sorry about that. I was just thinking out loud there through all of Ronnie's posts. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I just saw it. I wanted to make sure I covered it. So we are gonna bring back the Lobo walk this year, and we're gonna here in the next couple of weeks we'll put out some information on where it's going to be, when it's going to be. I think that's one of the coolest traditions in all of college sports. Having your team arrive and having the fans there to greet them, walk in, and so it won't be from Lobo Village, but it'll be around the stadium, and it's going to be part of a bigger initiative that we're working on. That'll be part of our pregame festivities. So I saw that and I wanted to make sure I touched on that. It was a great question.
It's another hard-hitting one, straight from my heart, really, from Richie, because I'm a big taco fan, meaning taco in the mascot races at Isotopes Park, and he's asking, what do we have to do to get Lobo Louie in the college football game?
I'll be honest, I did not know that Lobo Louie is not in the college football game, and we are actually currently working with EA Sports on some adjustments for the next patch. And so Richie, I promise you, I give you my word, we will ask that question to see what's going on there. So I appreciate the heads up, and Lobo Louie deserves to be in that game. One of the best mascots out there. So.
All right, this is a quick one since we are at 5 and we are going to sign off here just a second, guys. But I do think you can give a quick answer here because I think I know the answer. The Jimmy H is asking why aren't you using the old digital scoreboard that was just taken down and replaced with a new upgraded scoreboard? Why aren't you putting the old one maybe on the other side or using it in the pit or something like that?
Yeah, so great question, Jimmy. So the main issue on the opposite side, on the toe diem side, is the structural capacity of being able to support something that's bigger or heavier than what's up there right now is problematic because those members the structural members actually go through toe diem. And so we don't have the ability easily to supplement that structure. And so that was one challenge. The second is that board that was up there, I want to say was 13 years old. And so it was well past its usable life. And when those boards are on the outside, like the ones that are in the pit are protected, obviously, because they're indoors, so they last longer. It was on its last few days of functioning. And so, I have salvaged boards in the past before in the past and repurposed them. It didn't work for a number of reasons there, but it's a great thought. But I will tell you, again, as we look at enhancements to University Stadium, obviously, we're going to have to try to find a way to address that scoreboard that's in the south side of the stadium, just because it's getting old, and we'll certainly look at that as we continue through the process. But
follow up here from the jerk is asking, what can you do to basically update the boards in the pit as well?
Yeah, I'll just TJ. I won't say the jerk. So TJ, great question. We are looking at that. We know that those interior boards have a little bit longer lifespan, and so we have a couple more years left in them for them to function at the level that we feel it needs to be. But that's certainly on our list, and we all want to make sure that everything that we present in the pit is top notch. Obviously, that venue means so much to so many people, so it's certainly something that's on our list. Appreciate it.
I'll give you this last one. The other ones kind of have sort of been touched on in other answers here, but Gilbert is pointing out, we need a hotel within walking distance for alumni parties. Obviously, UNM wouldn't be the owner and operator of the hotel necessarily, so you have to get a partner in that. But is zoning right? Is all that kind of stuff right where you guys could get a hotel in that district?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that's a great, Gilbert, you're spot on. For us, when I say development, I don't just mean athletic development, right? I mean multi-use functionality, but whether it be a hotel or housing or, retail, whatever else it is, my hope, my goal, my dream is that these parking lots, they're not empty, right? They're filled, because when these parking lots are empty, it's not good for any of us, and so I think it would be an incredible addition to this area to have some we could leverage for our athletic events, but beyond that, right? Again, to create a reason to come down to this South Campus area and to continue to grow it and develop it. So spot on with that, Gilbert. I think that's a critical element that we'll continue to look at and explore, but I think it would be a big addition to this area down here if we could do something like that.
Fern, we got to do this more every so often. If you see another one in there you want to address, we can certainly do it.
Oh,
otherwise,
yeah, I'll talk the last one, Tiki Taki Taco.
Taki Taco's comment here. Any chance we start building out our multimedia efforts? Again, I think that tees it up for you pretty well, because I know what the answer is there. Would love to see something like the Longhorn Network at UNM, and to watch things on demand. What do you got going there?
So it's a wonderful question, because it's relevant to kind of what we're going through right now. Obviously, our goal is to, as I said before, we need exposure, right? We need to get the Lobos, whether it be football, basketball, you name it, Olympic sports, right, in households across the region. And so, we're working on something right now that we're pretty close to being able to announce, which will be a big moment for us. And I'm excited about that, because it speaks to this very question, is just increasing our reach, right? Increasing our footprint. Everything right now, that we produce lives on the Mountain West at the Mountain West Network. And so, we have a lot of exposure that way. But I think the next iteration of this, and we got to find ways to capitalize on this, and because it can help us from a revenue perspective, is you talk about the Longhorn Network. What it evolved to is more of a direct to consumer type model where people were subscribing to that, right? And they were getting behind the scenes access of our programs, of our sports, of our coaches, whatever else it might be. That gave them a behind the scenes look. And as we continue to build out our creative and external teams under the direction of Casey Byers, that's one of the things we've discussed is how do we give our fans, how do we extend our reach, make sure that we're in as many households as possible, but how do we create an opportunity for us that, one, we can generate revenue, but two, we can give fans on-demand access to some things we're doing behind the scenes that I know people enjoy. So we're absolutely exploring that. It's more important now than it maybe ever has been with just this new age of college athletics. So we're on it, and I appreciate the question because it's very pertinent to what's going on right now.
Sean, Fern, I appreciate you guys both. If not you all the time, Fern, let's fairly regularly keep a UNM a seat open for somebody from UNM, since our topic is UNM athletics 99% of the time when it's not grapes and La Bamba. And hopefully I'll make the ask. I'll ask you at your one of your meetings here soon to sort of nudge everyone else there to join us if they so like. They can drop comments in. They can shoot me or Sean a text during the show. We could do that, or they could do what you just did and be on the show. And I do think that the directness to some people watching, most people just watch, but some people obviously send their questions into. You guys do have an open channel through us, as well as through this show, as well as through your own channels. So. Yeah,
no, I appreciate it. I'm happy to join anytime. I say it all the time. I mean, I appreciate the coverage and the platform. I think we got, get some great momentum going on right now. And you guys are a big part of that, helping us tell our stories. So I appreciate you having me on. Happy to come back anytime. Go Lobos.
Sean, talk to you at work sometime soon.
Grammer, thank you. Fern, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, too. We'll see you guys. Thanks for joining us, guys.
See you. Thanks.